The development of mythological figures from Greek periods to Roman periods. In this presentation, I will explore the Greek god Zeus and his developments between the archaic, classical, and Hellenistic periods of Greece to the Roman period. The development between each period will include the different roles he portrays through artifacts such as sculptures and Parthenon carvings. There are several stylistic changes that take place between the different periods. In addition, Zeus is portrayed through many different roles, such as the peacemaker, the punisher, and the giver of life, and his name and story changes during the Roman period. Zeus is considered to be the king of gods. He ruled over the sky and the weather, and his main weapon was the thunderbolt. In Greek mythology, earth and heaven mated and had 12 titans, the ocean and Kronos. Kronos castrated his father and usurped him. Kronos then swallowed his children as they were born. When Zeus was born, he forced Kronos to vomit out his siblings, and they all eventually usurped their father and ruled the world from Mount Olympus. Here are some sculptures of Zeus in archaic Greece. The first photo is a pediment on the Siphnian treasury portraying a dispute between Hercules, Apollo, and Artemis, dating back to 530 to 525 BCE. The lower body of each figure is attached to the wall, however the upper body of each figure appears to be carved to the point of separation from the wall. Zeus is supposedly the large figure in the center, symbolizing the high status he has, whilst restraining all three parties, taking the role of a peacemaker. Although at first the figure in the center was believed to be Athena, until Ridgway noticed the tip of his beard on his shoulder. The figures are about 75 centimeters tall, and the pediment is made out of marble, which is a common material used back in archaic Greece. The photo on the right is a reproduced sculpture dating back to 530 BCE, and is made of marble and is approximately 72 centimeters tall. This sculpture emphasizes the artistic style of the archaic period through the most common archaic smile, and the lack of expression or lifelike body movement and proportion. Classical Greece. The first statue could be representing either Poseidon or Zeus, and it's mainly known as Artemian Zeus, although it's very similar to the previous one of Zeus shown in archaic Greece in terms of the positioning. However, this sculpture is made of bronze and is clearly more refined in detail. It was found under the sea in Cape Artemision, which perhaps is why the founders thought it was a sculpture of Poseidon. In classical Greece, there was a perfectionism theme within their artwork and within their depiction of the gods. For instance, in this sculpture, Zeus is depicted as strong and powerful. If this sculpture is actually made to depict Zeus as he throws his thunderbolt, it shows him as strong and unflawed. The artistic style in classical Greece is extremely different to the style in archaic. There is more detail to the proportions of the human body through the muscles shown and the detail put into the hair. It's clear that the Greeks are trying to capture a realistic moment in art. The photo on the left-hand side is a pediment on the Parthenon, which dates back to 447 to 432 BCE. This is a reconstructed photo of what the sculptures would have looked like, and it's made of Pentelic marble. It is extremely detailed, unlike the style in archaic period, which was simpler. Regardless of the size of each figure, you can see the detail within the drapes and some of the deities' expressions, and some have none. The east pediment represents the birth of Athena out of Zeus's head. Zeus had suffered from a terrible headache, so he asked Hephaestus, the god of fire and forge, to relieve the pain. And Hephaestus did so by striking him on the head with his forging hammer. In doing so, Zeus's head split open, birthing Athena in full armor. The birth of Athena depicts Zeus to be a giver of life, and considering Athena was birthed through his head and is the goddess of wisdom and warfare, this can symbolize the wisdom Zeus had that he shared or passed on to Athena. Hellenistic Greece. Within Hellenistic Greece, the stylistic changes were also drastic in comparison to the artistic style in classical or archaic. The artist's goals are to achieve a lifelike aesthetic through expressive movement and realistic anatomy. They wanted to portray a sense of naturalism within their art. The altar of Zeus dates back to 175 BCE. The ancient Greeks depicted the war between the Olympian gods and the giants in the architectural sculpture in Pergamon. This photo portrays Zeus as the obvious victor. This is shown firstly through the scaling of his size, and he appears to be the largest figure in the sculpture. Also, the sculpture is very detailed and succeeds in showing a lifelike movement. The detail in sculpting his muscles shows how much the art society has developed since classical Greece. Zeus is also accompanied by an eagle who is fighting alongside him. This could perhaps mean that he is loved or obeyed. In the sculpture, Zeus is taking the role of the Punisher as he is vanquishing the giants. The Roman period. In the Roman period, Zeus's name becomes Jupiter Vontaeus. This is the literal meaning of the lightning bolt. His role in the Roman period is to be the personification of the Roman state, powerful, overruling, unbeatable, the qualities of a god. The Roman and Greek culture share many characteristics, such as the gods and goddesses, although the Romans renamed and rebranded them to be their own. Their three main gods were Jupiter the sky god, the one who oversaw all aspects of life, otherwise known as the god who originated from Zeus; Juno, Jupiter's wife and sister, resembling the goddess Hera; and lastly Minerva, the equivalent of Athena. According to Roman mythology, the god Jupiter was the son of Saturn, and was the supreme god associated with thunder, lightning, and storms. The Roman citizens believed they were watched over by Jupiter. Unlike Greek mythology, Jupiter had many titles such as Jupiter Optimus Maximus, meaning the best and greatest, signifying his role as a father of the gods, whereas in Greek mythology, Zeus is the king of the gods. The photo is the bronze statuette of Jupiter in 200 CE, and it's made with similar material to the Hellenistic and Classical Greek periods in terms of materials, which was bronze. However, the style is different. The Romans had curlier and longer hair, and they implemented that within their art. In addition, the sculpture lacks detail in terms of the realistic body movement and facial expressions, unlike the statue of Zeus in the Hellenistic period. To conclude, Zeus evolved between each time period, carrying a new role with a new characteristic. His depiction changed within each period in terms of the style and detail of art. However, the most drastic change is when the Romans rename Zeus as Jupiter and give him a different story as to how he was a god, to rebrand Zeus as their own god.